Hi, I'm Mallory. I'm Program Director for Verto Education. So the idea for Verto came from a statistic that we found. I've worked in international education for the last 9 or 10 years now, and it turns out that I think maybe 5 or 6% of students study abroad during their undergraduate career, which is not very many at all. And I mean, going abroad, you learn so much about yourself and about the world, and we think it should be a prerequisite to graduate in college. And so why aren't more students going abroad? Well, it's really hard sometimes to go abroad when you're a junior or you're a senior, or anytime you're in your career and you have these prerequisites you have to get. It's also expensive. Like, colleges make it way harder. So our whole goal with Verto is how do we make going abroad and getting this international experience a core part of the college curriculum? And you do it your freshman year and you earn general education credits and you make it as accessible and affordable as possible. So that's kind of where the idea of Verto came to be. Verto focuses mostly on general education credits because we want to make sure that it's universally accepted at all universities. So what we do is we'll have our writing course is throughout all of our programs, and each of our locations have a specific focus. So we run 4 programs. Our first program is Costa Rica, and that has a big sustainability and environmental science theme. And then we also run a Costa Rica and Dominican Republic program, and that's really big into public health. So there's a really cool activity that we do where our partners on the ground have a good relationship with a brain surgeon in the DR, and you'll be learning about public health in the morning, and then you actually go visit public and private hospitals in the afternoon and get to see that hands-on experience. And then we have our Southeast Asia program, and that's China, Thailand, and Laos. And that has a business focus, so you learn about international business and corporate ethics. And you actually will go and visit an iPhone factory and that kind of stuff, which is really cool. And then our last one is South Pacific, and that is Fiji, New Zealand, and Australia. And that one has more of an anthropology focus. You learn about the Maori culture in New Zealand, you learn about identity and politics, and so that's kind of the focus of that. Obviously, also you get to do some diving, and there's environmental science there too, on the Great Barrier Reef. So when students are in the country, what happens is they don't have to be fluent or even know the language when you first get there. You'll obviously pick it up. So the first week that you're there, you're doing orientation and you're learning the language. So they're going to get a couple of phrases, like get water, go to the bathroom, and you're also always surrounded by program leaders who are locals. So you always have 2 other people with you who are local, who are native to the communities that you're in. So that's really helpful as well. Costa Rica is the only one that's language intensive, so you go there and you take a Spanish immersion class, so you can actually learn Spanish there, but you never need to go in knowing the languages. We offer both on-campus and off-campus programming. We recommend that you start with the off-campus programming, so that is our, basically you're traveling around with a group of 20 students. It's a 1-to-5 ratio of student to staff, and so you're traveling around the country doing 2 or 3 countries at a time. But you also have the options when you're done, if you want to continue traveling, but you want to do it in a different setting. You partner with international universities abroad, like the University of Bristol, Macquarie, University College Dublin, and there's one more, and Auckland, New Zealand. And so what you can do is once you've done your first semester, kind of in the field, we call it, you can actually go on campus and study, do an international, it's basically a study abroad during your freshman year, and we'll help with that whole process. So we have articulation agreements with all of those schools, we can help you pick out courses, we'll kind of refer you to doing that. So we have 2 students who are doing that this year who went and did a Dominican and Costa Rica their first semester, and are now either in, one's in Dublin and one's in New Zealand doing their second semester abroad. So it's basically creating a totally international freshman year. So it varies, depends on location. A typical day, a student will go, so all the teachers are traveling with them, everything is on, all the teaching's in person, and so they'll wake up, you might do a 2 or 3 hour class in the morning, and then you'll do some kind of field work in the afternoon that directly ties to that. So another example from the Dominican Republic is you might wake up and take your international development course, and that afternoon you might be digging aqueducts to bring water to the local community. So that's kind of the kind of field work they'll be doing. We also partner with some local universities. So at Costa Rica, we work with Earth University, and they have this really amazing sustainable development kind of lab set up that you can go and do a lot of hands-on work there and meet animals and all that stuff. So it really depends on what kind of coursework you're doing. When you're in Australia, there's some diving in the Great Barrier Reef. We have fun activities too, zip lining and whitewater rafting on the weekends. So it's a kind of a hybrid of adventure and academics. Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing that I think is just, I mean, having that international experience. I don't know about you, but when I went to college, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd hardly been outside of Maryland. I didn't know much about the world, and so I think the number one biggest benefit is just getting a chance to like go and learn more about themselves and the world around them a little bit, and so they can go into college more confident in themselves, more confident with what they want to do, with a really cool network of people, and so that's the number one benefit. Additional kind of more tangible benefits are they have obviously the small class sizes. We have this college pathways course that goes along with it, so you learn about time management and just some of the soft skills that you really need to succeed in college. Also through Verto, you can apply to any of our partner schools. So we have about 16 consortium schools right now. So either before or even during the semester abroad, you can say, hey, you know, I'm really interested in going to James Madison University or the College of Worcester or any of our partners. And we'll just take your application and we'll go to them and we'll get you an admission decision. So that's another huge added benefit, like no cost, nothing like that. We'll get you an admission decision. And we had a couple of students do that on the semester this year. They went in to not really know what they wanted to do, found out about some of these colleges, really loved it, and ended up there in the spring. So the way that the admission works, so you aren't offered guaranteed admission to any of our partner schools, but what we do is we work directly with the admissions team at these 16 schools, and we have an articulation agreement. So if you're really interested in Verto, you go through the process, you apply to our semester, you say, you know, I also want to hear an admission decision from these 3 schools. We say, great, there might be a couple extra documents we need depending on the school. We work with we get your stuff, we turn to the admissions team and say, hey, you know, Allison's really interested in your school. We talk to her, she's a really good candidate. She's also going through Verto, so she'll come to your campus more mature and excited and know what she wants to do. They give us an admission decision, then we return that back to you. So, and we have a college for every kind of student. So we can't guarantee that you'll get into maybe like a really high reach school, but you definitely have a little better chance because, you know, they know Verto and they appreciate kind of what our program brings to students. We have the connections. But you also don't have to go to a partner school. So the way that our credits work is we are accredited by Mills College in Oakland, California. And so at the end of a semester, every student gets a transcript. They're technically enrolled in Mills College, and they'll get a transcript with the courses and the credits. And we've done an analysis of 20, 30 plus schools to make sure that our credits are pretty universally transferable. So what you can do is before, after, during, whenever you're on the program, you can send to whatever school you want to go to and say, hey, here are the courses I'm taking, can you just let me know, will these transfer, will they not transfer, what can I expect? So that we shouldn't have any surprises there. So at Verto, the kind of students we're looking for are not necessarily the A+ students with 4.0 GPA. They're people who are world curious, who are just like excited about life and about exploring and want to figure out more what they want to do. And so it really is like our interview is kind of where we figure out if you're a good fit for Verto or not. Just learning a little bit more about you and your interests and your desire to travel and your appreciation of other cultures. And so that's kind of the student that we're looking for. We really have a spot for any kind of student in terms of, I guess, grades or GPA. It's more just your excitement and desire to travel the world and to have these cool adventures.